Every man thinks women fear loneliness or rejection or being cheated on, but the truth is there's a much deeper fear, one they'll never say out loud. And once you understand it, you'll never see female behavior the same way again. Think about that for a second. Ask the average guy what women fear most, and he'll say, being cheated on, being abandoned, being unloved. And sure, those fears exist, but they're surface level. They're symptoms, not the disease. The real fear, the one women rarely admit, even to themselves, is deeper, primal, biological. It's the kind of fear that hides behind every relationship, every Instagram post, every dating choice, every late-night insecurity. It's not about love. It's not even about betrayal. It's about survival. But before we peel that back, let's deal with a dangerous myth. Men love to believe women are just like us, that they think like us, want like us, fear like us. This is one of the biggest mistakes a man can make in life and in love. Men fear failure. Men fear weakness. Men fear being disrespected or replaced by stronger men. That's our nightmare. But women, their nightmare looks completely different. And here's where it gets controversial. Throughout history, a man's survival depended on his strength, his honor, his ability to protect or produce. A man who was weak could starve, be conquered, or enslaved. But a woman, even if she was weak, could still survive if she could secure the protection of a stronger man. That brutal reality has been wired into female psychology for thousands of years. It's the unspoken programming behind why women fight harder for attention than for truth. Why validation means more than logic. Why fear of being replaced cuts so deep. Because when a man gets cheated on, his world collapses from shame, from humiliation, from losing respect. But when a woman gets cheated on, the wound is different. It tells her, you are obsolete, you are no longer valuable, you are being replaced. That's why cheating is devastating, not just because of the betrayal, but because it exposes the core fear. Irrelevance. And once you realize this, suddenly women's behavior makes sense. The constant validation seeking, the obsession with youth and beauty, the panic at 30, hidden behind bravado at 25, the tests they throw at men, the drama, the contradictions. What looks like manipulation is often just strategy born from fear. What looks like irrationality is often survival instinct. And what looks like freedom is often panic dressed up as empowerment. The truth, my brothers, is this. Beneath all the myths of female fear lies one terrifying truth, the fear of becoming invisible. And that's where we go next. Every man has heard the phrase, the biological clock is ticking. But most think it's just about fertility, about whether a woman can have kids past a certain age. That's only the surface. The real truth is far darker, and it explains more about modern female behavior than anything else. Because here's the reality. Biology doesn't negotiate. And no matter what society preaches about equality, empowerment, or liberation, the human body hasn't updated its programming in 100,000 years. A man can rise in value with age. He can be broke at 20, struggling at 30, and yet at 40, if he builds wealth, power, and purpose, he can command more respect and attraction than ever. His value compounds with time. But a woman, her value in the sexual marketplace is front-loaded. Youth, beauty, and fertility give her immense power early in life, but that power peaks, and then it declines. And here's the brutal part. She knows it. She may not admit it. She may distract herself with career empowerment slogans or endless Instagram likes. But deep down, every woman feels the pull of that ticking clock, and it terrifies her. Because women's greatest fear isn't loneliness, it isn't rejection, it isn't even betrayal. It's becoming irrelevant. It's aging out of the game. It's watching the same attention she once commanded vanish overnight. It's the fear of being invisible, to men, to society, even to herself. That's why you see 35-year-old women freezing eggs, not because they want children now, but because biology is whispering in their ear. That's why the most liberated women still crave validation, posting selfies long past the age when men stop noticing. That's why midlife panic hits so brutally. It's not about aging, it's about disappearing. And here's the controversial truth most men never say out loud. Society lied to women. Feminism told them they could put off family, put off commitment, put off children. Chase the career, have fun, you can have it all. But biology doesn't care about TED Talks or empowerment hashtags. Biology doesn't bend to politics. And when biology's deadline approaches, the fear kicks in, hard. That fear explains why women chase hypergamy, always reaching for the better man. It's not greed, it's insurance. If her power is slipping, she wants the strongest security she can lock down while she still can. Men look at this and get angry. They call it manipulative. They call it gold digging. But once you understand the clock, you see it for what it is. Survival instinct. Desperation hidden behind lipstick. Fear disguised as independence. And here's the kicker. No matter how much society tries to erase it, this fear doesn't go away. Because the biological clock isn't just about babies, it's about power, relevance, and survival. And that fear, the fear of becoming invisible, shapes everything that comes next. For the past 60 years, society has been feeding women a story. You can have it all. Go to school, climb the corporate ladder, collect experiences, partners, and empowerment slogans. Marriage is optional, family is optional, motherhood can wait. And men are accessories, nice to have, but not necessary. It sounds liberating, it sounds progressive, but here's the harsh truth. It's a lie. And deep down, most women know it, because biology doesn't negotiate. Biology doesn't care about hashtags or graduation certificates. A woman can be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but her eggs still age on schedule. She can fill her 20s with travel, hookups, and career moves, but by the time she looks up in her 30s, the clock has been ticking the whole time, and that's when the fear sets in. Why do you think we're seeing an explosion of anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction among modern women? Studies show women are unhappier today than they were in the 1950s, even though they have more freedom than ever. How is that possible? Because society told them to ignore their nature. It told them that chasing status and independence would satisfy them. But nature is ruthless. The female psyche has always been tied to reproduction, validation, and relevance in the sexual marketplace. And when those collide with modern lies, the result is panic. That's why you see 35-year-old women on dating apps insisting they're strong and independent, yet secretly desperate for commitment. That's why empowered women still flood Instagram with thirst traps. That's why phrases like, "Where have all the good men gone?" trend among women in their 30s. They were told they had time. They don't. And here's where it gets controversial. Men bought into the lie too. Men were told, let women live how they want, everything will work out, equality will bring harmony. But instead, what we got was chaos. Women following a script that biology will never respect. Men growing bitter because the rules changed in real time. It's like telling a soldier he can win a war by ignoring gravity. You can believe it until you step off a cliff. Modern lies cannot override ancient truths. And the ancient truth is this: women have always leveraged youth and beauty for security, and men have always leveraged strength and purpose for respect. When women trade their youth for empowerment, and men trade their purpose for comfort, both lose, and civilizations crumble with them. The bitter irony. Women were promised freedom, but many end up in chains anyway. Chained to corporate jobs they hate, chained to fading beauty, chained to regrets about the family they never built. This is why the fear runs so deep. It's not just the biological clock ticking, it's the realization that the modern script was a scam, and the bill always comes due. And that's why we need to look at how this fear actually shows up in their daily behavior, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. We've talked about the biological clock, we've talked about the lies society sells, but now let's bring it down to earth, how this fear actually shows up in women's lives. Because once you spot it, you'll realize it's everywhere. Look at the obsession with validation. Why do women flood Instagram with selfies? Why do they chase likes, comments, and endless attention? Men call it vanity. But it's not vanity, it's insurance. Every like is a data point. I'm still relevant. I'm still seen. I'm not invisible yet. Think about the endless makeup tutorials, the obsession with filters, the fear of posting a picture without editing. Is it about beauty, or is it about proving to themselves that they haven't disappeared from the marketplace yet? Now look at hypergamy, women's drive to trade up for a stronger, wealthier, higher status man. Men often rage against this, calling it shallow or greedy. But if you peel back the layers, what you see is fear. Fear that the man she's with won't secure her future. Fear that her peak years are slipping away and she has to cash out with the best deal possible before the window closes. Hypergamy isn't about cruelty. It's about survival instinct sharpened by panic. Now consider testing. Every man hates it. The little jabs, the challenges, the shit tests that women throw at men in relationships. Most men think it's pointless drama, but it's not drama, it's measurement. Every test is her asking, are you strong enough to handle me? Are you confident enough to protect me? Or are you just another weak man I'll outgrow? It's not malice, it's fear disguised as strategy. Because if you fail the test, she knows she's wasting time, and time is the one thing her biology won't give back. Even female emotional volatility makes sense through this lens. One moment she's happy, the next she's panicked, angry, crying. Men see chaos, but what you're really seeing is an operating system designed to adapt at all costs. Her emotions are weapons, pushing, pulling, adjusting, to keep herself secure while her value is still in play. This is why women panic more at age 30 than at age 20. This is why they double down on validation, why they push harder in relationships, why they trade up even when they say they're happy. Because beneath it all is one constant whisper: don't disappear, don't become invisible, not yet. And here's the part that hits hardest. Men mistake all of this for manipulation, cruelty, or immaturity. But it's none of those. It's survival, it's fear, it's the ticking clock screaming in the background of every decision. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The validation seeking, the tests, the hypergamy. It's all the same fear, the fear of irrelevance. And in the next section, we'll talk about why men completely miss this truth and how that blind spot destroys them. Here's the problem. Men completely misread women. We project our own fears, our own psychology onto them. We assume they're worried about what we're worried about: respect, legacy, honor, being replaced by stronger men. But that's our fear, not theirs. And when you misread someone's fear, you misunderstand everything they do. Men see women's obsession with attention as childish. Men see hypergamy as betrayal. Men see testing as drama. And because they don't understand the hidden fear driving it all, they grow bitter. They lash out. They call women manipulative, hypergamous, or broken. But here's the truth that most men don't want to admit. Women aren't broken. Men are blind. This blind spot is why men lose in the modern dating game. They walk in thinking women want love the way men want respect. They think buying flowers, being nice, and offering loyalty will satisfy her deepest fear. And when it doesn't, they rage, why isn't this enough? Why doesn't she love me for who I am? Because love isn't the issue, survival is. Let me hit you with something controversial. Women don't test you because they enjoy drama. They test you because they want to know if you're strong enough to keep them from becoming invisible. Every jab, every push, every challenge is her biology screaming, if I tie myself to this man, will he protect me? Will he keep me safe? Or will I be forgotten with him? Fail the test, and she feels the clock ticking louder. Pass it, and her fear quiets, at least for a while. This is why so many men become bitter online, lost in black pill forums, screaming that women are shallow, cruel, or beyond saving. They're not seeing the truth. They're stuck in their blind spot. Because once you understand the hidden fear, you stop taking it personally. You stop whining about female nature, and you start seeing it for what it is, a survival mechanism. And here's the empowering part. Once you see it, you can choose how to respond. Most men don't. They sulk, they complain, they call women names. But strong men, they adapt. They recognize the fear. They stop trying to fix women and start fixing themselves. They stop asking, why are women like this? And start asking, how do I make myself the kind of man who is immune to irrelevance? Because that's the real truth most men don't want to hear. Women's fear is irrelevance through age. Men's fear is irrelevance through weakness. Both genders are fighting the same enemy, just in different ways. And that blind spot, failing to see the difference, is why so many men lose. Now let's talk about what this means for you. Because once you understand the brutal implications of this fear, you'll realize that your entire life as a man comes down to one choice: strength or irrelevance. We've ripped open the secret fear of women, the fear of irrelevance, of fading from sight, of becoming invisible as beauty and youth slip away. But now it's time for the harshest truth of all. Men have their own version of this fear, and most of you watching are losing that fight. You see, a woman's battle is against time. A man's battle is against weakness. Women lose value when their youth fades. Men lose value when they fail to rise. The clock is merciless to women, but weakness is merciless to men. And here's the kicker. If a woman hits 35 and panics, she can still cash out if she's smart, strategic, or lucky. But if a man hits 35 without strength, without discipline, without purpose, no one is coming to save him, no one cares. He is invisible too, not because of age, but because of irrelevance. Think about that. How many men do you know who are ghosts while still alive? Invisible at work, invisible to women, invisible to themselves, lost in porn, video games, fast food, endless scrolling. They're not even fighting, they're already gone. And here's the brutal truth. Women's fear at least drives them to act. It makes them seek validation, test men, chase security. Men's fear. Most men drown in it quietly. They numb it with distractions. They run from it instead of facing it. That's why society is full of weak men. Men who never built a body worth respecting. Men who never developed a mission. Men who never learned discipline. Men who expect loyalty, sex, and respect just for existing, and then rage when women don't give it to them. But nature doesn't care about your feelings. Women don't care about your excuses. And history doesn't remember weak men. This is the hard implication, brothers. Women fear irrelevance through age, but men fear irrelevance through failure. And irrelevance is death, socially, sexually, spiritually. If you don't rise, you vanish. Period. So stop whining about women's fears. Stop crying that hypergamy exists. Stop sulking because she left you when you failed her tests. Instead, realize this. Women's fears are just a mirror reflecting your own. Her fear of becoming invisible should wake you up to your fear of becoming meaningless. That's why the solution has never been to complain about female nature. The solution has always been to master male nature, to become disciplined, dangerous, purposeful, and unshakable, to turn yourself into the kind of man who cannot be ignored. Because here's the truth. Women may fade with age, but strong men only grow more powerful. Which path are you on? And that brings us to the final section, the call to men. Because understanding female fear means nothing unless you rise above your own. We've walked through the hidden fear of women, the fear of irrelevance, of fading into invisibility. We've exposed how it drives their choices, their tests, their contradictions. But now comes the real question. What will you do with this knowledge? Because here's the truth most men don't want to hear. You're not safe either. Women may fear becoming invisible as youth slips away, but men become invisible when they choose weakness. And right now, in this collapsing modern world, weakness is everywhere. So ask yourself, are you one of the men who hides from this truth, or one of the few who faces it? Look around. Porn is destroying men's focus. Comfort is castrating ambition. Dating apps are draining masculine energy into endless swipes and rejection. Entire generations of men are slouched over screens, addicted, numbed, irrelevant before they even hit 30. And the system is built to keep you there. Because weak men are easy to control. Weak men don't start families. Weak men don't build legacies. Weak men don't resist collapse. They consume. They obey. They fade into nothingness. That's why this channel exists, to wake men up, to drag you out of the fog and into the fire, to remind you that you were not born to scroll, consume, and decay. You were born to rise, to discipline yourself, to lead, to become the kind of man who cannot be ignored, no matter how much the world tries to bury you. Women's secret fear should not make you bitter. It should make you ruthless with yourself. If they fear irrelevance through time, then your task is clear. Destroy irrelevance through strength. Build a body that commands respect. Forge a mind that cuts through lies. Live with purpose so strong that collapse itself cannot erase you. Because here's the harsh truth. Civilizations may fall, empires may crumble, but strong men always rise from the ashes. And the question is simple. When the dust settles, will you be one of them? Or will you be just another nameless casualty, lost to weakness and fear? The choice is yours. But you don't have forever. The clock is ticking for women, and for men, every wasted day is a day of irrelevance. So here's my challenge. Stop being passive. Stop numbing yourself. Start fighting for your own value. Build the strength, the discipline, and the legacy that no one can take from you. And if this message shook you awake, if it stirred something inside you that's been asleep, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with a brother who needs to hear it. Subscribe to the channel and join the mission. And if you want to take it further, support this work using the link in the description below. Because the world doesn't need more weak men. It needs strong ones. Stay strong, stay awake, and I'll see you in the next one.